Namaste. Whenever we think of yoga, we will think of the poses we are practicing in yoga. We call them as asanas. The term asana, we find it in a text written by Patanjali, a yogi lived around a few thousand years ago, in his yoga text called Yoga Sutras, where he will describe asana as stira sukham asana. Stira sukham, we can think of a steady, comfortable pose. It is important to have a steady and comfortable position in our life. Suppose we are going to drive a car. When we sit, when we sit, we will adjust our seat to be comfortable, for our body to keep it straight, our hands to drive, to look, to have clean windows, to drive the car with comfort. In a similar ways, we can think of many examples in life that we are benefit when we are in a comfortable and steady state in whatever we do. So a similar way we should think about our body. Our body is our vehicle in this life. So with this body, which we have borrowed from the Creator, and it is made from 5 elements: earth, water, fire, air, ether. It is our vehicle for this life, and if we experience steadiness and comfort in this body, we are benefited as physical health, but also as a spiritual health. So in yoga, we are practicing, we usually, when we come to yoga, when we start yoga, asanas are a small part of yoga, but this is most common the way we start practicing yoga with these poses. Asanas are of different categories. There are asanas, a category that is inspired by geometry, as we say trikonasana, triangle pose, or twisting triangle, like architecture. And there are asanas inspired by the animals, like dog position, cat, lion, and so on. There are asanas that are inspired by nature, like mountain pose, tree pose. Asanas that are inspired by rishis. We call some saint beings which have been in the past, and to honor them we dedicate asanas in their name. And each of these saints has taught something valuable to this world. Each category has benefits and approaches, of course. And there are asanas from all these categories that are primary, intermediate, and advanced. Usually, when we start a yoga practice through the asana, we just warm up the body, doing some salutations, and we approach mostly asanas from geometry, just to give a shape to our body, and then inspired by animals, and mostly the poses that are dedicated to rishis might be advanced, or they demand not only physical. What is important from the asana is to have a good combination of flexibility, strength, balance, and stamina. Suppose we have an arrow and we want to open the arrow. A bow, so suppose we have a bow and we want to open the bow for the arrow to go. If the bow is very strong, it will be very stiff, so it will not open. It will be very hard to open. A similar thing with the body. If we have a very strong body, it doesn't move, But if the arrow is very flexible, too flexible, it will also be weak, and similar with the body. So suppose we open it, it's going to break if we open it too much. So we want a good combination of strength and flexibility to be in balance. Then it's a good bow. Also, we would like to have to be in balance to hold it, so we are in balance, and to have stamina to wait for the proper time to leave the arrow. So a similar approach we can have with the body. So flexible body, strong body, balanced body and stamina. And of course, that combination, it will be beneficial not only when we do the asanas on the yoga mat, but 24 hours in our daily life, whether working, sleeping, eating, communicating. So when we experience these qualities, we can think of Stira Sukham Asana, as Patanjali mentioned in the Yoga Sutras, like steady and comfortable asana. So there are asanas that are beneficial for the health of the body, so there are more focus for that, and there are asanas that are more focusing for mental balance. And usually we will start our practice for developing a good physical health, and as we deepen, we are approaching mental and spiritual health. Of course, we can't say that to have spiritual health, it's you have to be physical also healthy. We know that practitioners with many issues and problems, they are very good spiritually, but most of the common people, most of the daily life people, when they feel good with the body, they are more calm and they can be more happy and share this happiness. Otherwise, most of them, they will share their misery and their pain and problems. So have a healthy body, it's a great gift to society, because it goes to more and more lightness from darkness. And we are made by 5 elements: earth, fire, water, earth, ether. And all the planet is made by these 5 elements. And in Ayurveda we will know them as Kapha, Pitta, Vata also. So when we are practicing asanas at the time of Kapha, at the time of earth, every day has different timings. So the time of earth, it is from sunrise to late morning, like before afternoon. And that is the time of like 6 to 10 p.m. So that's the time of Kapha. So if we practice asanas, that timing is very beneficial for the body, because we remove the stiffness and we work on Kapha, which can be heavy and slow. And a similar time, it is also during the evening time, the sunset. So from 5:30, 6 p.m. to not tonight, but early, it is good time again to do asanas. So if somebody likes to get benefited, it's better to choose one of these two timings. If, of course, someone has the luxury of choosing, because today it happens that some people have no luxury of choosing the time during the daily activities. So practicing the asanas, a sequence of asanas, every method and school and teacher and approach has their own views. Generally, we start by working on the earth element, which is the legs. So earth element is working by forward bends a lot. Then the water element, the fire. So we use poses like boat pose, or fire or vinyasas. And then as we deepen, we work on the air element, like the type of vata in Ayurveda. Vata is beneficial by twisting balance poses. And lastly on ether. So from the gross to the more subtle element from the practice. And of course, all of us, we have our body types will be different in this quality. Some people will have a lot of earth elements, so they will be steady but stiff and slow. Some people will have a lot of air element, they will be flexible but more weak and unsteady. Some people have the fire element, they might be tense if it's not balanced. So a lot of fine details that should be approached individual by each practitioner of how to use the asana. And of course, we should always keep in mind that practicing yoga is not the practice on the mat that lasts 1 or 2 hours for most people. But practicing on the mat is, we are focusing at that time, but the practice is a whole day in whatever we do. We can experience all these qualities that I mentioned before. As we deepen in our yoga practices, we look for the steadiness. So in the beginning we do a lot of poses, changing this and that, but lately we want to have a good steady pose, like a pose of Padmasana, the lotus pose, that we can see all the elements like earth, water, fire, air, ether, and have this steadiness. So that will help the mind to focus and concentrate in a steady pose. And on this steady pose, we can practice the more fine elements of yoga practice, such as breathing exercises, pranayama, concentration exercises, meditations, and so on. And sometimes we hear that that practitioner has the CD of the asana, like the CD, the spiritual control power of the asana. That is, we can say that person can stay for a long time, like 2-3 hours in one asana, then it's a good sign for that like that person knows the asana. But a beginner will not stay that time, will do like 5-10 breaths just to awake the body and keep a good health. 5 breaths are usually symbolize the 5 elements: earth, water, fire, air, ether of our creation. And some people, like if somebody stays 5 deep and slow breaths in quality, it's very good for the health and also for the emotion, for a good tempo. But a beginner that doesn't have this control of the body and the quality of the breath, it might be advisable to repeat the asana few rounds with these breaths, or to stay like 10 breaths, 12, to have a better effect. If we want to deepen and if we have some like health issues and we want to make some good work on a certain part of the body, the certain asana we can stay like 25 breaths, 30, 40, 50, then it's good to work on depth. And as we deepen, then we choose few asanas and stay for a long time, like meditation asanas or so on. So from the asana there are many benefits and opinions, Like in one part of the earth, like a few thousand years ago, it was like a sin to take care of the body, and in another part of the earth it was a tradition to take care of the body. So both parts will have their own views, Of course, focusing and have attachment with the body, it is not a good thing. But maintain the body in a good health state, it's a great thing since we are living in this body. So we all have to see this balance and get benefited, not the extreme one or to the other, which is extreme is never beneficial for everyone. It is said when Buddha was meditating, he said that I will sit, I will cross my legs and I will not open them until I get enlightened. In the beginning he opened because he saw that it was not ready, as the story says, but a time came when he said that I will not open and I will do, and he did not open the legs, just stay, and until he got enlightenment. Of course, Buddha has practiced lifetimes to get to that state, If we say that I don't open my legs, I might have a serious health issue. I have to listen to my body. For how long shall I practice? What is the length of the practice, the breath, the way I push the body or not? Because the yoga starts with non-violence, ahimsa, so we shall not do anything violent to our body or mind in life, but especially through the practice. Because there are three types of pains, we know. One pain will come because our position is not correct, like our anatomical position is not correct. Suppose if I sit always like this and write on my computer, my back will have a problem because it's curved, So that is wrong anatomical position. Another pain will come because I push my body so much beyond my limits, and if I push my body, if I hit it, it reacts with pain. So I give pain, I get pain. These two issues can be well by studying yoga in the proper way, like methodical. Another issue of pain is like something is coming out of my body, a certain type of pain, and I haven't done anything, but it's just I have a pain on my right leg, or my hand. That is because something was stored. It is stored in my body through the past, something I've done in the past, and now it's time to come out. When that comes out, it's a great blessing, because if I have equanimity and awareness, it's going to go and never come back again. When that comes out and I stop my practice, it means that I will face it again. It doesn't remove from me. So there is a question, shall I practice if I'm not feeling well? Yes, if you are not feeling well, it's best thing to practice, because from darkness to light, it's easier than from light to light as a path. That means that if I am not well, if I have pain, if I have no mood or whatever, and I practice, whatever my practice will be, I will be happy and grateful that I did it, and I will feel better at the end, for sure. And that pain, that darkness will not allow me to do wrong practice, because I just want to feel better, But if I'm feeling well and happy and I say, no, I'm going to practice, it can be dangerous, because I will develop attachment, desire, wants, and I will demand from myself deepen and do this, do that, and that might not happen. Then I get some injury or in the body, or my mind is not happy or depressed. So from darkness to light is more safe than from light to light. Is very important, of course, to have a good approach, but can be very dangerous. So if we are not feeling well, it's very good to practice, That is, we should always keep in mind. And if we have a very gross or a health issue in our body, it's also good to practice, because we will adjust our practice to that. Like suppose my right leg doesn't bend because I have a whatever, I will bend it as much is comfortable. So Sthira Sukha Asana, comfortable and steady, and I will listen to my breath and stay there. And of course, through the time it's going to heal, it's going to be better, because everything is getting better if we follow a nice principle. So practicing is like going to a pharmacy, get the proper medicines and apply them. So we should always practice whatever happens in life, because practice is going to benefit me always, if it's proper practice, of course. Some other question is, how long shall I practice? Like how deep, how many breaths, how often? Every day, 2 times a day, 3 times a day, once a week, once a month. It is said that if you do once a week, you have a good health. If you do twice a week, like very good health. But if you do every day, you are studying your body, and every day it means one day you take a rest. Or we can think of the plants, like if there is a basil plant, and I have to put every day some water because it needs water, and in certain seasons it might need twice a day. But there is another plant that doesn't need so often water, so if I put to the other plant every day twice, it's not going to help, it will harm the plant. If I don't put water to the basil that needs everyday water, suppose I don't put water for a month, it's going to die, and then I think I will put a lot of water just to make it alive. It's not going to work now. So we have to observe our body, our age, our state of being, our daily life, our food, and then we can see how often and how long our practice will be, and that also might change from day to day, year to year, and phases of life. But it is very important not only to practice, but to know how long and until that point. So no more, no less is very good and essential if we want to have a good practice. There are people that there is a question that, do I need to practice asana in order to develop spiritually? The best answer you know by yourself. And of course there are people that never practice asana at all in their lifetime, as we do in yoga, and they are very high spiritual, because they may be not need it, and there are people who need it. So everyone can sit quietly and think where it is. Most of the people, to my opinion, to my research, they are benefited by practice of asana, less or much, depend, but they are benefited because they are coming in a better union with the body and then with their soul through the asana. Practicing the asana is like washing the clothes. If that shirt is very dirty, I don't want to wear it and it's dirty, so I will wash it very well, iron it and wearing it. So it is like that, practicing asana, mudra, pranayama, meditation. So since most of the people today don't study themselves from very young, like not to do violent thoughts and actions, and not to have proper food, proper behavior, have a asana practice combined with good elements of breathing, for example, and like non-violence, truthfulness, and so on, cleanness, will be benefited and will are more prepared to research within themselves. So anyone can always research and see how to do that with the asana. But whatever we do, either practicing or not practicing, or whatever we are in life, we will always be benefited by thinking the simple term like stira sukham asana, comfortable and steady state of my life in whatever I do. Like this, we don't bring more issues, and we work on the issues that we have already till we remove them with our equanimity and awareness of our practice.